Assalamu alaikum, bro. How are you?
Hello, my brother. How are you? Hi, doctor.
Alhamdulillah.
Fantastic.
Okay, we will start, inshallah, after 5 minutes. Okay.
That's great.
Okay. You look handsome, bro.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
Good morning. Sorry, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ibrahim Mohammadi, a distinguished senior lecturer in chemical engineering at the UKM. Dr. Mohammadi is an expert in his field. Field separation, purification technologies. He's focusing on development, advanced polymers, membranes, and also bioreactors, membrane bioreactors. Maybe with more than 70 peer-reviewed publications, and I think at index 32 and more than 3K citation, books, book chapter, published patents. Dr. Mohammadi impact in the field is extensive. He is an editorial board also and a reviewer for several journals, prestigious journals actually, and his work earned more than, I think, 10 awards international, and also showcasing the recognition his research has received globally. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mohammadi as he shares his insights on the challenging of securing research grants. Bro, the mic is yours. You can write the stage.
Sure, that's great. Thank you so much for the nice introduction and for everything. My name is Ibrahim Mahmoudi. As my friend said, I'm a lecturer in UKM. We will start talking about grants first, but before we jump into grants, I would like to say that I usually teach these things in three different sessions. So the first session is only introduction, okay? The second session or the second day, I teach how to write the grant, including what verbs to use, what sentences to use, what to do, what not to do in English writing, what are the things that you have to understand, generally everything. And in the third day, right now, I teach about AI, application of AI in the grant writing, okay? How to use ChatGPT and other AIs to help you write a better grant. So the first session is usually 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. You can ask any question during the session, so don't wait until the end of the session. You can turn on your mic. I hope Dr. Ahmed lets everybody uses their mic if they want to. You can turn on your mic after I finish that slide, you can just ask me the question. It's very, very normal, and this is a very friendly session, so don't take it very seriously, all right? All right, so let's start with the first slide. What is a grant? So what is a grant? Grant is a financial aid that you can get from an organization, all right? But this financial aid that the organization gives you is not a loan, and it is not a, just a second, let me minimize this one and take it there. All right, it's not a loan, and it's not just borrowing money. They will give you money to enhance or improve some lifestyle or the aim of their company or the aim of that organization, right? So what they will do, they will have some money, they will find experts that will work for free for that money. Most of the time, the grants that you get is not belonging to you. It doesn't belong to you as a researcher. You cannot spend that money for yourself. You have to buy equipment, you can hire people, but you cannot spend it on yourself. So it's not a loan, and it's not a money that you borrow. It's a money that an organization gives you for you to continue their aim or to get to a goal that they want. This is the key point. A goal that that organization wants, right? I managed to secure around $1 million, more than $1 million of grants, right? I got international grants. I got last year, I got Horizon. This year, I got 3 national grants, 1 international grant. So I've been around this type of grant writings and this type of grants. The only important thing is you have to see what they want, and you have to.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you raise your voice?
Raise my voice.
Yeah.
So you cannot hear me clearly?
Yeah, somebody cannot hear you.
Somebody cannot hear me. Maybe I use a microphone. Just give me a second. All right. How about now?
Fantastic.
Is it better?
Yes, very good.
Okay, that's much better. That's a great thing. All right, so let's go back here. All right, good. So generally, a research grant is not something that they will give you as a loan, and it's not something that they will give you as a gift. So it's something that they will give you for you to continue an aim or do something or achieve some significant or interesting result that helps the society or helps that founders. The founders can be governments, can be universities, or can be industrial. Securing industrial grants are the hardest, right? Because industries usually they have their own R&D, research and development center. If you want to get a grant from industry, you have to be very, very convincing. So you cannot just go there to them and say, hello, I just want to do this novel thing and I want some money from you. They will not give you the money simply. You have to have some interesting results or some interesting patents. The key word here is patents to be able to get the grant from industry, right? Then there's government grants. Government grants actually are easier to get, and they are usually in very large amounts, right? So government grants are the easiest to get, and they're in large amount, and you can see that the government grants have better supporting, but government grants, getting them is competitive, and you have to have a very, very interesting and good writing, specifically make your writing into the aim of the government. All right, and we have the grants from the universities. The grants from the universities, they usually give you, and they expect some kind of publication or some kind of achievement or KPI from you, and that is how you develop and you do the grant understanding, how you understand the grant. All right, okay. So why do we get grants? All right, why do we researchers as a researcher, why do we get grants? We do few reasons. There are a few reasons that we can get a grant for. One, we do some research, and we need some money to buy some equipment or hire some postgraduate or hire some specialist to do something for us, right? So we usually get the grants for getting the essential or the personnel or the material for the research that we want to do, right? The second thing is to advance knowledge. We get the grants and we go to the granting body, especially this part is for the universities. We go to them and we say, oh, we want to advance the knowledge and add to the body of knowledge, especially in case of engineering and medicine and social sciences. This is something that we can do. There are other type of grants that doesn't only belong to researchers. You can get government grants for businesses, but I'm not talking about those today, but I have a lecture that I talk about those government grants that you can get it for a business or a startup company, all right? But today we are talking about advancing of knowledge. Then career development. Getting a grant can be a very, very boosting place or a jumping place for a researcher, right? So if you're a researcher and especially if you are at the beginning of your research, you are like 5 years, 6 years, or 10 years lecturer, or you just got your PhD and you are just working, getting a grant or even a small grant for you is a huge deal. It's a very big opportunity. So it can jumpstart your career. Your career can go very, very high, and it can help you generally with your career. All right. On the other hand, when you get a grant, you can hire some other people, and it will be great and a great opportunity for them to do doctorate, postdoctorate, and master research, and you can give them a career that they can go on. And this is something very helpful for society as well, right? Okay. Promoting collaboration. Many grants can promote collaboration between industry and researchers. Okay, at the end, the aim of a research or aiming the aim of a researcher is to do something for society. If you are doing research in medicine or you are doing research in engineering, your research will be used in medicine or medical agencies or in industry. If you are doing research in social sciences, you are going to add to the body of the knowledge for the society, right? So at the end, it's the promotion of collaboration between society, industry, or medical or medication bodies, all right? Medicinal bodies. Okay. A grant is just not a novel idea. You cannot go somewhere and you say, oh, I have this novel idea and it's new and I want some money to get to do this new thing. Grant is completely different. You cannot just have a novel idea and you say, I have a novel idea, I want to try this, and I want to see if this works or not. If you want to do that, you usually get a very little amount of money from your university. You do a research paper, right? You usually go for a grant when your idea is developed up to a point, or you apply for fundamental research grants. You have to find fundamental research grants and find body of knowledge or places or maybe government that can give you some grants for fundamental research. But generally, when we want to write a grant, we don't go there and we don't say, I have a novel idea, I want to get some money for my novel idea. Usually it doesn't work like that. It's more than creativity. Writing a grant requires just a unique creative idea and a very, very strategic plan. So you have to have a plan and you have to have a unique idea, and your grant usually should solve a problem. All right. That problem can be either for medicine, for industry, or for society. But you have to show the granting body or the granting body in the government that the solution that you are providing from with this grant can help society, and you have a novel new way of doing it. Okay, so you have a novel new way of doing that thing, and you can tell that body that I have a plan, I have an idea, I have a methodology, and I want to go and get this done, right? So you cannot just think it as a novel idea or new method of doing the same thing, and you start getting a grant, okay? Overall, a well-crafted grant proposal goes beyond simple description of an idea. It is presented well, organized, strategized, and it should be very, very interesting for the persons or the body of the government or the university that they read it. Okay, when they read it, they have to understand your aim, the solution that you are providing with this grant. Okay. So this is the part that the grant writing gets a bit complicated, all right? So me personally, I divide the grant writing into 3 phases, all right? The first phase is pre-award, okay? Pre-award phase is when I'm writing the grant or when we try to write the grant. Well, when you try to write the grant, the first thing is to identify the funding opportunity. You have to find the grant. How to find the grant? We will talk about that, right? How to find a grant? The best way of finding grants is there are many websites that you can go search for the grant. Elsevier has a website specifically for the grant IV something. I'm not, I don't remember the website, but I can share it later on with you. Or you can just ask ChatGPT right now. ChatGPT can give you the list of international grants available for grabbing in your area of research. But before all of these advanced things, the way that I used to find grant was when I read a research paper that is related to my area, I go to the bottom of that research paper and I look at the acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is an international body of research or international agency or international place, I go search them online and I find that place and I tick it or I save the name of that place because I know they give grants to the area that I'm interested in. You see, it's very hard to find a specific agencies or specific places that will give you a grant specifically in area of your research or the area of your study. Okay, so one of the best ways of finding a grant is looking at the acknowledgement parts of the papers that you read. If the body of the government or the agency is an international agency, save their names, go to their website, search in their website and see if they can give you a grant in the area that you are interested in. Actually, last year, I won the Horizon grant. It was 125,000 pounds, English pounds. Then the Horizon grant, I actually found it like that. I was reading a paper and I saw like Horizon 2017. There was a grant, Horizon 2017 in the acknowledgement. Then I was interested. I went there and I searched about it and I realized, oh, Horizon is a grant scheme by the UK. You can get it from UK, Netherlands, Spain, and other countries. It is around €500,000, but you have to find universities that they want to collaborate with you in Europe. Then we emailed them, we found them, then we got together, we wrote the grant. Each of us got 125,000 pounds, which is a very huge sum of money. I hired 2 PhD students with that, and it boosted my publication a lot. Actually, it can help you. So developing the research proposal. This one, I teach this one for a complete day, all right? So developing the research proposal is an art. It's not just a writing, right? Developing research proposal is an art. You have to understand everything about the organization that is giving you the grant, then start writing the proposal. You cannot randomly write a proposal. Writing a proposal for a grant is completely different from writing a proposal for a PhD, and it's completely different from writing a proposal for a research paper. If you want to do that, just do a research paper. Writing a research paper is completely different from writing a grant. All right. Preparation of the budget. Budget outline is very, very important. Actually, last year I wrote a grant from from Qatar Foundation. They rejected my grant not because of the idea, but because of the budget. Right? Because they were I was going to do a lot of analysis, and they asked me if you have this analysis available in your lab. I said, no, this is available in my university, and they didn't want to give me, it was $500,000. They didn't want to give me $500,000 because they believed that this money will not be enough for if I want to buy that analysis for my lab. So they said, oh, we believed the committee believes that the funding and budgeting was not done properly, blah, 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 something, and they rejected it, okay? So this can happen. And submitting the proposal. Oh, submitting the proposal is one of the hardest, because you have, when you submit the proposal, you have to have the updated CV of all of the researchers. Even if you have a problem in the CV of one of your researchers, you will get rejected. You see, you have to look at the agency that is giving you the grant, and you have to submit every single document according to them. You cannot simply submit your own CV. You have to use their reference or their format for the CV that you are submitting. We made a mistake for one of the grants. We submitted our own CVs, the one that we used in university, and it got rejected because we made a mistake of not changing it to their format, because they want the reviewers just look at the certain criteria and certain places in the like the CV, and if it's not in their format, they will not accept it. And this is the simplest thing. Sometimes you are doing research in area of medicine. I do research in medicine. We do a lot of skin grafting, wound healing, and one of our grants got rejected because of one paper. A license for using live animal was 2 days beyond the date of the grant finishing. It means the grant was finishing in 2027. The license that we had was like 2 or 3 days finishing 3 days before the grant finishes. They rejected it. You see, so submitting the proposal is one of the most important things in a grant writing and a grant proposal preparation. So you have to be careful, and you have to follow the agency that is giving you the grant. You have to consider their construction and their guidelines, okay? 2, review and award phase. This one, I call it the stress phase. You will sit there and wait until your grant gets accepted or rejected, all right? But after it gets accepted, You have to do few things. You have to fill up some forms. You have to get maybe MOUs signed with the Horizon. We had to sign a mutual MOU with the 4 other universities, so we can show that we have a mutual understanding and we are doing research. And sometimes you have to do NDAs with industry. So after you get the awards, there are some things or some parts that you have to go through. And if you don't go through those, if you don't provide the documentation to them, they will reject your grant as well, all right? And the post-award phase. The post-award phase is one of the things that is a bit funny. Last year, one of my friends got blocked from his grant because they said you didn't follow our guideline for acknowledgement. So he was publishing a paper for that agency. It was a government agency. Then at the bottom, for the Horizon something, he wrote Horizon Europe, but we got our grant from Horizon England, and because of that mistake, we got blocked out of our grant because they didn't accept the paper. Because most of the time when you do the grant, every few months, maybe 6 months or 1 year, you have to write a report and show that the flow of the grant is on the schedule. You are doing it based on the time that you proposed, right? If you don't follow the schedule, if you try to drop out of it, or you cannot hit the KPI, there's a possibility that they will stop your grant, right? So these are all the challenges and stresses that a researcher has to go through to get into a grant, right? So grant has 3 phases. Phase 1, pre-award, review, and post-award. And all of them are equally important. If you want to continue getting grants in future, the post-award is very, very important, because if you don't hit the KPI, if you don't do the things that you promised you will do, you will be blacklisted from future application. And the scientists that gets blacklisted and the scientists who cannot do the grant anymore application are not very valuable for the university. So you put your job in jeopardy, right? So you are risking your job for the grant. When you want to get a grant, you have to make sure that you can hit the KPI, which will take us to our next challenge, all right? Getting a grant is very difficult because it's very highly competitive landscape. For international grants, I have it in next slide, I think. For international grants, usually 10 to 15% of them are getting accepted, right? These are all the international grants that you can apply from different agencies. Horizon is from Europe, NIH, ESRC, NSF are mostly from Europe and US, but they will give you grants for different area of research. Horizon is usually they will give it to developing countries. So if you are from Malaysia, from Iraq, from the countries that are developing, getting Horizon is very convenient, right? But winning chance is only 15%. Okay, and you have to find universities in Europe that you can exchange knowledge with them, right? But winning chance is only 15%. It means you have to be very, very specific and very, very good with the grant writing to get the grant, all right? NIH, you can apply for NIH even if you are from Iraq or from other countries. And if you are working in healthcare area, if you are a doctor, researcher in medicine, doing any kind of medical thingy, you can do the NIH grants, okay? ESRC is usually for the grants for businesses and other research grants, and NSF is usually for social sciences, right? It's for if your area of research is social sciences, you can go for the NSF grants, and the NSF grants are small, okay? And because the social sciences, they cannot claim that they want this equipment or they want to do this or they want to do that. And most of the research later on in the budgeting, I will show you, most of the big research grants will be given for providing of the equipments. Some equipments, research equipments are very expensive, but as social science usually don't use that much of equipments. So getting a very huge grants like $500,000 or $1 million grants is very difficult for them. So they usually get 100,000, 50,000, so they can get higher number of grants, but the amount is lower. All right. So you see, based on the things that I just explained, it's a very competitive area of application. So getting the grant is very hard. There are a few key challenges that you have to consider when you want to apply for the grant. And for the first one, I cannot emphasize enough on the first one, okay? The first one should be the only thing that you think about it when you want to do the grants. Forget the rest of my slides. Forget the rest of my presentation. The most important thing is this one, number one. Okay, it's the most important thing. If you don't know this, if you don't follow number one, you are not getting the grant. I told you what is a grant. What was a grant? A grant was a sum of money that a company or an agency will give a researcher to do something for them. Again, the key point is to do something for them. You will be benefiting from it, but at the end, in Persian, we have a saying, we say, no cat will kill the mice for free, okay? Nobody will do anything for nothing, okay? They want you to do something for them. And if you don't do that, you will be blacklisted. I emphasize, you will be blacklisted. So every agency or every industry or every research scheme, when they come out, they will publish one research guideline or research theme. You have to read that research theme like your life depends on it. You cannot start writing your grant until you completely read and understand that research scheme or that research guideline provided by the agency. If you don't do that, you will not get the grant. There is one grant that is usually given to the young researchers. It is a grant from UK, okay? That grant is only 50,000 pounds, but they will give it to the young researchers from the third world countries, from the developing countries. What is the name of the grant? I don't remember. I'm too old, okay? I'm very old. Actually, I did a tooth surgery, and today I had like a piece of it removed, so I am on heavy medication as well. This is one of the reasons that I'm sometimes struggling to speak. I'm on medicine. Anyway, so that grant is one of the things that young researchers apply for it, but they don't read. That grant is called Fundamental Research Grant, something like that, right? You cannot have any kind of application in your grant. So you cannot say, I want to use this for this application. If you write that in your grant, the reviewer will immediately reject it. The way that you write it, you have to read the guidelines. They will say that if you want to test some novel idea and see its application in society or science, right? So you cannot say, I have this nanoparticle and I want to apply it in the medication. No, you have to see, I want to see if this nanoparticle is usable in medicine. They're both the same, but you cannot use the word application. The reviewers will immediately reject it. You see, if you don't read the guidelines, you will not understand what you want to do, okay? Addressing the market needs. This is one of the most interesting things. The way that I do my research is like that. I go to Google and I search for the trends of publication, and I see what is the trend of publication this year and who is working on what mostly. Then I start doing some small research on that and try to connect that research to my research. So when you want to apply for a grant, you have to do the same thing. Right now, the market for environments, market for water, market for recycling, and market for global warming is very, very hot. So Europeans are giving millions of grants for the global warming research, for the market, for the water research, for wastewater treatment and recycling, right? So if you want to know, you have to search online and look at what you can do to benefit the society, okay? You have to know what you can do to benefit the society and how your grant can have a market, okay? And this is when people or the body of the government or the agency that is giving you the grant will have a better, what do we call it? A better reason to give you the money. Because a lot of other people will apply for the grant. You have to have a novel idea, novel method, and a direction that you show to that body of the government or to that agency that you can do better than the others. Getting a grant is to prove that your idea works better than the others and you have the specific plan for executing, okay? Presenting feasibility, all right? So this one is very, very important. When you want to do the grant, you shouldn't over-promise. If you do over-promising or you say, I will do a very big job with a little amount of money, they will say, this guy will take our money and run away. He will not do it because this is impossible to do this much with this little amount of money. All right. So you should be very, very careful with the promises that you make. You cannot overpromise. Overpromising is a very, very huge problem. And one of the drawbacks that last year I was a reviewer for a grant scheme, right? It was a national grant in Malaysia, and I was one of the judges. Most of the grants were rejected by this exact comment. It is too big of a objective for this time frame. So it's not achievable. So generally, we say that a grant or the objective that you have should be SMART, a specific, manageable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. All right? So the whole slide can be in this figure, SMART. Can be this figure is the combination of the whole slide, the whole talk. Your grant should be specific, manageable in time, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you have to be very, very, very careful with your objectives. You cannot over-promise. We talked about this. Okay, understanding of the founder's need. This, again, this is so important. This is the reason that I have 2 slides on it. When you want to get the grant, when you want to get a grant, most of the people fail to get the grant because they don't understand what is the founder wants, right? When a industrial grant is available, or when a Horizon grant is available, you have to understand what Horizon grant wants from you. Then achieving the aim of the founder should be your goal. You cannot go to the, let's say, Horizon grant, or let's say NIS grant, or even the Qatar Foundation grant, because Qatar Foundation grant is one of the easiest grants, especially for the Arab speaking countries, right? So they usually, you have to find somebody in one of the Qatar universities, which is very easy. They are usually available. You tell them, I want to write a grant with you, and you have a good background, that's the most important thing, they will usually accept it, okay? Which will take me to the to my second thing, which I'll talk about it, okay? So you have to read their specific guidelines. What do they want? They want to fight climate change. They want to provide clean water for their society, for the people. They want to do farming. They want to do green farming, advanced farming, medical assist. For there was one grant specifically for training nurses to do some kind of machinery. Okay, so you could write as a doctor for that grant and receive the grant, hire nurses to work for you with that grant, but you teach them in that process. You see, getting a grant is just achieving the aim of the founder, not your aim. The founder will give you an aim. You will see what is their aim. If that aim is aligned with your research, you will provide your novel methodology with the timeline and very, very good solution for that problem. They will give you the money. That's it. That's it. That's the easiest way of getting the grant. You have to understand what they want so you can give them. If you don't read the guidelines of the grant founder and you start writing your own grants, you will never win the grant, because you have to, at the end, they will not give you a loan, and this is not a gift. Okay, they will give you some money to do some work for them so they can achieve some achievements, so they can have some achievements. And that's the reason that they will give you the money. Okay, align your objectives with the founder's interest. If the interest of the founder is to get clean water, you cannot go and tell them, I can make diamonds from carbon. It's not possible. Maybe you have a new methodology for making the best nanoparticle on planet. Maybe you have a new methodology for bone healing that will just fix every wound in like 10 days. But you have to find the specific grant for you that works. You have to read the guidelines of the founding body. Okay? This is very important. You have to be very, very careful with this one. You have to make your plan very clear. This is, you can read about it. I don't care about it. But the second thing is, in the summary part of your grant, which I will teach next session how to write, and in the body of your grant, okay, you cannot be too scientific. If you be too scientific, the reviewers which are not expert in your area will not understand what you are doing or what you want to do or what is your solution. In the methodology part, you can be as scientific as possible. But in the introduction part, abstract part, and some grants have a summary, okay? In the summary, they call it the exclusive summary. The exclusive summary, usually non-expert people or non-expert reviewer read that. Most of the time, if you make it too scientific, the non-expert reviewer will not understand what you want to do, then he will reject you or she will reject your grant. Because before, I've been the judge of the, or I've been in the committee before. So I am a bit familiar with all of these processes. Before the grant passes to the expert reviewer in that area, it will be checklisted by a general secretary, okay? And they will see if all of the documents is aligned, all of the documents are available, all of the CVs are updated, they have publications, they have achievements, and they will read the top part. Sometimes if they don't like the top part, you will not even go through the specific or a specialist reviewer. You don't believe it, but this is a reality of a grant proposal writing or the scientific world in generally. I'm sure all of you have published papers or maybe corrected your student's paper. Most of the time, it's very hard to correct like 200, 300 papers. Imagine a body of an industrial body or a government body will receive thousands of grants applications, 500, 600. They have to go through it. Most of them will be rejected at the beginning stage. They will not even go to the specific reviewer because the professional reviewers or specific reviewers, they will either get money or credit based on the number of the grants that they correct, okay? So that agency doesn't want to pay as much. So the first thing that they will do, they will checklist it. If your checklist is not clear, it is not visible, or everything is not good, you will not even go to the
Sorry,
second.
bro. You
Yes?
have just sorry. You have just 4 minutes for your
Oh,
lecture
okay.
and 10 minutes for after that for questions. Okay.
Sure, sure. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. So technically, we talked about this in the previous slide as well. So when you're writing the grant, you have to follow a very logical step, following the founder's need. And believe me, the blue line is the most important part of a grant. Grant is not a place for creative writing. You cannot go there and start doing creative writing. Keep the creative writing for your research papers, especially if you're a young researcher. Do it in your research paper, not for your grant proposal. All right, Budgeting of a grant is very important. I told you before, my grant got rejected because of the misbudgeting. They told me that the budget that you wanted for this device is not enough, so you cannot do it and you cannot achieve the goal. At the end, the founder wants to see if you can achieve the goal or not. These are the common pitfalls that people fall when they are writing a grant. For each one, I provided 2 or 3 links from the Harvard University Academia, grant writing, or other website that you can click on them, go to their website and start reading more about the problems that I already mentioned. But all of this, I already talked about them and mentioned them. Okay. So rejection and failing. Rejection is a part of the grant application. You cannot say I'm a successful scientist until you apply for 200 grants and 199 of them gets rejected. One of the things that you have to consider for getting a grant is usually to bring withered professors with 10,000, 5,000, 8,000 citations and put their names in their grants and use them as a, what do you call it, as a backup or as a strong point that you can achieve the goals of the grants, all right? And you have to remember, every time you get rejected, you will learn something from the comments that the reviewer of the grants will give you. Don't ignore the comments that the reviewer of the grants will give you. Read them, and you can use them in the future. So with that, I would like to finish my talk. Today's session is just an introduction. Okay, you can ask me every question or any question that you want. I will leave my email and my phone number in the chat. You can email me, message me when you want to write a grant. I can help you. All right. I'm open to any question.
Okay, bro. Million thanks for of appreciations, and thank you for your invaluable lecture on securing research grants. The insights you provided are incredibly helpful. I have many questions, but after the other people question. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prof, for this great lecture. Can you give us an example about writing the grants, the benefit grants?
Yes. In next session, I will completely teach you how to write a grant, and I will give you few examples that we got, and I can share my Horizon grant with you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor, for great information. My question, how can I stay informed about the grants?
Oh, how can you stay informed about the grants? There are many ways that you can stay informed about the grants. One of them is there are few websites, okay? You can just register in them and they will send you informations about grants, right? They are not reliable and most of the grants will not register in them to be informed completely. But again, you have to, we are researchers, this is our job. You have to read the acknowledgement part of every paper, see if they got international grants, and go to their website and write in your calendar on which date their grants open. All right. There are websites I will share later on. There are a few websites that I can share with you. I will share with Dr. Ahmad. He can share with you that you can go there and look what grants are internationally available. But in the website, not all of the grants are mentioned. Some of them are mentioned. Some of them are very small. Some of them are very huge. Some of them are not even for research. Most of the grants are for prototyping and industrial scale grants. So it's easier to get prototyping and industrial grade grants because you will take your product there and you show them, you say, I have this, I want to make it into a product. Then they will give you a grant easier. For research grants, there are websites that you can go, but it's generally very difficult. honestly.
Thank you, Doctor. Another question, please.
Yes.
Explain the structure of a proposal. What are the characters of successful proposal?
This is for next week, okay? I will talk about the structure of the proposal. I will show you how the proposal is outlined. I will show you how to write a proposal, and I will show you even what verbs to use in which parts. Okay, so this is a complete day of teaching, but 45 minutes is not enough for that. Okay, I need 45 minutes, but it's okay. I will try to make it in 45. But if you want, later on message me, I can send you the structure of the proposal. But generally, the proposal should have a summary, background, a methodology, benefits to society, milestones, achievables, okay, achievables, and contract. Objectives, of course, objectives should be there as well. But the most important part is to explain what you will achieve and how it will benefit the society, or how it is in line with the goals of the grant's founder. So how the grant founder will get benefit from you. Question? Any other question?
Yeah, hello, Doctor. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you for your variable sessions. I really appreciate your insight on the information you share. I have a couple of questions. I want you to explain more, please.
Sure.
First of all, how can I clarify the reasons behind my request for a research grant? Should I present these reasons before starting the project or after? And how can I obtain research funding without having to provide evidence of successful or failure for this research method? Because some of them, they asked me to provide like an evidence or a percentage of failure or successful of that method. And thank you.
All right. So I will answer the second question first. I think the first question will be in the answer of the second question. How can you provide evidence, or how can you get a grant when you don't have evidence? So I told you at the beginning of the talk, there are few types of grants. One of them is fundamental research grants. So if you want to, if you don't have any proof that this works, and this is an idea that you think it will work, you have to find fundamental research grants. But from the fundamental research grants, first of all, they are very, very little amount. Then the second of all, they are very hard to get, because every young researcher at the beginning of their career are looking for the fundamental research grants to do some, get some grants without providing any background or any proof, all right?
Yeah.
The reason that most of the research founders or the founding body want some proof from you is that they want to see that the grant that they are going to provide will not go to waste.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is the reason that they want to see if you can at least do something before you have at least some results related to this area before they will give you their money. Money is not something that people give for free. I told you, this is not a loan and it's not a gift. They will give you the money for you to do some work for them. If you cannot provide your example of work, then usually you don't get the money. But there is a way. The way is to find fundamental research grants. The fundamental research grants is the way to go. You find the fundamental research grant, then you apply for it. Then, voila, you will get everything done and everything easy.
Okay.
What was your first question again?
Okay. My first question was, can I obtain research grant without having to provide evidence of, about, the reasons behind my request for research grant? Should I present these reasons before starting the project or after? Maybe in the middle of my project, I stuck in some point, so I need help. How can I manage that?
I don't understand. You mean during your project writing?
Yeah.
Or during your
working? Sorry, doctor. Yeah, because I faced some obstacles during my research working. I stuck in some point because I need financial aid. So can I apply for a research grant in the middle of my research work?
You can apply in the middle of research. Yep. Actually, they like it. They really like it. You will go to when I'm not sure if in Iraq there are national research grants that you can apply yearly. If you provide some evidence that you have been doing this research and you have this publication and you want to use this publication for a second part of your research, or your research will continue from this, right? You cannot say my research is halfway. You say I did the first part and I'm going to, my achievement was
extended. Extended work. Yeah.
Exactly. My achievement was very good. So the wording, the way that you say it is very important. You will not go there and you say, this is the art of grant writing. You will not go there and say, oh, I'm in the middle of this work. Can you give me money for me to finish it? You don't do that. You will go there and you say, oh, I'm doing this research at the big, and the first objective or the first part was very, very successful. This is the result. I want to continue this research. Can you provide the funding for me? Then you write the funding like that.
Yeah, that actually happened with me right now.
Yep, you can do it. Definitely. Yeah. Actually, I've done that. I got this year, I think I got a few weeks ago, I got 100,000 ringgits, which is equal to 25,000 US dollar. I have a device that Dr. Ahmed have seen it. It can filter water on point. Okay, it's a handheld device. Then I went to the industry and I showed them the device and I said, okay, this is the device and I'm doing it very well and it's up to this point. We want to make it better like this and this and this, and we want to do this and this and this. And they said, okay. They gave me 100,000 ringgit through UKM, through my university. They gave the money to university. University gives the money to me as a grant. Then from this year, I will hire somebody to do the job for me.
Oh, great. Good for you.
So yes, it is completely possible.
Yeah. Thanks, doctor.
Always an honor.
Okay, bro. I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Okay, but before that, you said you are old.
I am old. I'm very old.
We call it marriage, bro. Okay. What are the common budgeting mistakes the researcher makes, and how can we avoid it? They avoid it.
Okay. The common mistakes that the researchers make are these 5, all right? Ignoring the funder guideline, lack of clear explanation and bad language, okay? Failing the address for need of the founding body, confused project plans, okay? Unfocused project plans, okay? These are the things that makes a grant rejected. These are these things that this slide is actually from the class that they provided for us before we become the reviewer for the grants. I was the reviewer for the grants. There was a class, they gave us a class, and they gave us these reading materials. They said, you have to, when you are reading this grant, you have to judge it like this. if it's ignoring our guidelines, if it's lacking the good language, if the writer cannot write in their proposal, definitely they cannot do publication. Okay, if they are doing, if they are in line with the need of the government, which was the founding body, are they going to provide for the government, and are they doing the planning of the project very well? So these are the highest or biggest mistake that researchers do when they are doing research proposals. All right, if you do any of these kind of things, your research proposal will be completely rejected at the beginning. If something is confusing in the methodology part, if something is not very clear in the objectives, or if the date is too long, the reviewers will give comments to the researchers and say, okay, your grant seems okay, but reduce this, enhance this, make this better, make this clear. But if any of these 5 is there, the grant will be completely rejected. Okay, these are the 5. And the other thing that most of the young researchers, look, I'm not talking about the withered researchers. The withered researchers, of course, they know how to write a grant, right? I'm talking about the young researchers. Young researchers think that they can put their own names and their friend's name and get a grant. You cannot do that. You have to have some publications in that area, some proof of concept in that area, and you have to bring some other big guy, right? There are very withered researchers that are more than willing to help the younger generations. Bring some guy with 3,000 citations, with 100 publications, and ask them to guide you, to put their names in your research grant, and ask them to help you to get the research grant, right? Especially for the younger generations. This is not
okay,
for
bro. Thank you very much.
always an honor.
راح طبعا انتهت الأسئلة أخوان. دكتور محمدي، أعتقد أنه ما حد يعرف أنه أنت تتكلم اللغة العربية.
أنا أتكلم عربي، بس أتكلم عربي قليل.
لا مو قليل. طبعا احنا نشكرك باسم جامعة العين، ورئيس الجامعة دكتور شفيق يشكرك أيضا، وفريق الدعم أيضا يشكرك، والمحاضرين، فجدا جدا ممنونين على المحاضرة.
شكرا.
والسلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.